Is there ever a time that you we're going to be able to come here without you putting that black bag over our head? It smells like fear in that bag.
Hey, what's going on, internet?
That's what you went with?
Yeah, that's what I went with. Hey guys, season 2, Bad Publicity, rolling along. New location, under construction. So prepare to be amazed as maybe next time we have a black sheet hanging up.
or a blue one.
Yeah, something classy, something classy.
We're just trying to get some more space here so we can stretch out and get some elbow room and stuff. But
Jamie's jealous of my board game collection, but
yeah, but we did get this space for a steal because all the murders drove the price down.
it's a lot of needles everywhere, though. So
yeah,
you gotta watch where you step.
You make do. So today we're going to talk about Plugged In Tour. I know there's a lot of people that, can't make these events.
People can't go? Since what?
Well, they don't have, what is it, the parents' permission slip signed?
Feed a field trip.
Yeah, you didn't get your field trip permission slip signed. So we thought we'd start a place where, as Bad Publicity, we can talk about what we would vote for, and you can pretty much buy corpse morns, vote.
Yeah, it's for sale.
Yeah, PayPal them or email transfer.
We could do that as a prize, maybe. Let's do a prize.
I guess so. Yeah, sure. Okay,
Think
prize
of
for what?
We'll think of a contest to do at the end of the.
Yeah, by the end of the video.
That might be shamed on by the people putting this on.
I don't care. He could go. He could go either way.
It's 50,
He's just going to be swayed by our population.
And I do go either way.
So we have two. We have two new identities coming in. The Collective, which is a amazing Shaper card, and
biased much?
Laramy Fisk. Well,
and then Laramy Fisk.
I mean, I feel like the Shapers have kind of been ignored lately, and they need another
Yeah,
identity.
they were totally shunned in creation control.
Yeah,
Then the
no,
last
God,
one got there.
nothing.
Yeah, they're terrible.
But okay, so break it down. The Collective is what?
Collective. Okay, I'm going to read it from there.
Cue card.
Collective. Zero Link, Identity, they're cybernetic. We don't know if that's going to come into play later or not. They are a 55 card deck with 5 influence available to take. And they state, the first time you perform the same action 3 times in a row, each turn, gain a click.
Zero Link, right? Did we say that?
Zero Link, yeah, I think I started off, didn't I?
Perfect.
Yeah, but did you say the 55? Fine.
I think that was the third thing I said.
Did you tell them they're cybernetic?
I did.
Did you tell him the
We're
name?
done.
I did. Tell them the name.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
So,
I think I covered it.
thoughts on this? We know there's the basic actions you can do every turn as a runner, but there's also other things you can do, right? Like, these guys will probably be money-making machines.
Yeah, I would say that. Money making and drawing with professional contacts.
Yeah, Magnum Opus, pretty much 3 times, and getting a free click then to Magnum Opus again. Mm-hmm. Professional contacts is another one. Thoughts on this?
I'm just feeling that it's going to be excellent for the player who really enjoys doing one good, solid, sure thing run every turn. Because you'll be able to use the turns, the actions leading up to that run to fix whatever you need to get yourself in. So R&D lock decks will become that much more dangerous to come up against when you're looking at the Collective. Things like that are really going to help them out.
But what about the 5 influence?
I can't stand the 5 influence. I think that's the thing that just really sets this card down, and it makes me not want to even contemplate it. I don't know. Like, I like I don't know. Everybody's argument right now is the fact that you don't need a lot of influence to play with data suckers and have admin in your deck, and granted, that's a great deck, but I think by the time this comes out, I'm gonna be so tired of that. You know what I mean? Like, right now, I have it in my criminal deck, but it's still really new. But I think
Yeah,
by
because
the time
who really knows when they're going to release this, right? It
Yeah.
could be in the whole another pack cycle down the road. They never said when it's coming, so I mean,
I don't know, and I think 55 cards is a lot of cards, and there's not enough to bank on. And then in a 55 card deck, yeah, you are going to get like with professional contacts and stuff like that, but it's not like you're going to be able to have, like your hostages in there to guarantee that you're going to get them faster. So all of those draw cards are going to come less frequently in a 10 card heavy deck, right? And
But with Diesel and quality time in faction
I agree. I understand.
and the tutors.
I don't know. I think it's the 5 influence. I think influence to me is probably the most important thing in this game, and I think it really stretches. Hollis, the guy who basically runs Genteki and everybody follows the Hollis's Genteki deck, said that the scariest thing that he comes up against, and I'm paraphrasing obviously, so if people want to troll me about it, but he said that he really dislikes when people play out of faction account siphons, just because like you don't expect a shaper to have account siphons. It's an influence of 4, and it's an amazing card, and there's no reason not to play it. But at the end of the day, when you see it, you're just like, oh, like it really kicks you in the pants. But when you see something with 5 influence, by the time those guys come out, you'll basically know what deck you're playing against. It'll be very basic.
You see that a lot with the NBN one, right? Like the world is the world is yours. As soon as it's almost like the Rain Man thing when you're counting cards. If you're counting influence, as soon as you see a certain amount level, you're like, well, he obviously doesn't have 2 Scorched Earths in there anymore.
Yeah, and then you get to play a lot more reckless at that point. Yeah.
So if you're playing this and there is a certain card, you obviously know like, well, the rest of these cards are all going to be green because he's used 3 splash on 1 card. Right.
That you're going to want to drain as well. You're going to want to soak that ability. So a lot of your stuff is going to focus on, click activated. Like 1 turn you're going to want to gain, $8 off of a Magnum Opus. The next turn you're going to want to draw, maybe there's a click for 2 cards or something like eventually they're going to have that, and then you're just going to have a suit of replacement clicks, and then that's going to be the deck. You know what I mean? And then it's more than likely going to have 3 Atmans and 3 Data Suckers, and then what could you put in for 2 more influence that would be worth it?
I'm not sure off the top of my head.
Femmes.
Yeah, 2 Femmes probably round off your suit, and then you basically have my criminal deck for breakers. And
So you hear that? He did it first. Don't even think of doing it.
I am interested at the 55 limit though. I'm not one that puts more cards in a deck right now above the limit. I even used to run Chaos Theory, which is at the 40, right? So wow, to go 55 in a runner.
Well, but the flip side of that is that, to me anyway, if you're putting in tutor cards, so cards that find other cards, or if you're putting in draw cards, you're really not adding anything at all. So you could build your deck the way you want to build it, say with 45 cards, and now you've got 10 card slots to add tutors and draw, and then
that's a completely valid argument. Yeah. I mean, and if you're talking about tutors and draw power, like at least it's in the tutor and draw power faction.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say
like
there's no shortage of shaper cards that you can't put in at this point.
You're not going to be able to tutor for everything because that comes with a lot of criminal. But as far as draw goes, you're going to be able to mill through that deck, and then there's the access keys that are going to let you recycle and all that.
And AR Levy Labs. Or
it's going to be if picked, it's going to be a very powerful card, but I think it's lost a lot of its deck building flexibility.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I think it's going to be a very static deck. Like I think it's just going to turn into, just like. I mean, it's kind of why I'm not in love with the Kate decks right now. I mean, as powerful as they are, I'm kind of the guy who likes. I mean, I'm still very competitive, and I love to play competitively, but at the end of the day, I want to kind of do something that isn't the top thing. Like, I mean, right now I'm playing criminals, but that's for lack of a criminal that I feel like I can, or a runner that I can get behind. I'm waiting for the Kessia programs. But like, I love running Replicating Perfection, Genteki, you know what I mean? Like, I play it to a competitive level, but it's something that's not, you know, it's not your Hospiroids, and it's not your tag and bag, so, you know, I think that that's what I dislike about this. When I see this, I see a primary deck, I see a good deck, and I see just people running the same thing. And maybe that's just my
no, I can see that
woman's
very
intuition.
it becomes very it might become very stagnant depending on what the splash pool is at that time.
But I guess that's all going to be speculation, because like
Yeah.
I said, this isn't going to come out in the spin cycle. It could very well. I mean, it's not going to come out in the next big box set, so I can only see this coming out in the next cycle, so we're not going to see this for a couple months, I don't think.
Transition there to Laramy.
So, Laramy Fisk has 0 link. He's a natural, he's a human. And then it says the first time you make a successful run on a central server each turn, you may force the corp to draw 1 card. He's a 45-15 influence.
Stock.
Yeah, he's just he's got a good solid ability for. I mean, it could be argued that his ability isn't that solid, but I think in a criminal deck, you know, where you have like HQ interface and all that stuff, where you want to make successful runs with their HQ, making them draw cards is a good way to keep their hand open. You know what I mean? Like I play Genteki Replicating Perfection, and when I have 11 remote servers down, chances are there's no agendas in my hand. I'm just putting them down and trying to shuffle them into the game that I'm making you play. But now I have to draw a card every turn, and that could potentially be an agenda, but it could also possibly be a trap. So I mean, for me, that's.
Do you find that this power might be benefiting the core player? I mean, draw is very powerful, and now you're giving this guy a free draw.
In certain builds, yeah. In certain corporation builds, it'll be a boon for them. In others, it will not. Like
if you're playing burst economy, that's going to be a real kick in the pants. If you're playing Laramy Fisk and the entire corp has a burst economy deck, then that's going to hurt.
Yeah, because they'll be doing really, really well with their money. But it's if you're going to be using Laramy, if Laramy is the one that ends up being released, then it's going to require a very, very tactical style of play to use him effectively, because you need to not only know where to go to push the card to where you want to put it, or to get the card out of the way to get something underneath. Like if the run on the central server happens to be
what?
Is that it's going to be tricky. It's going to be very tricky for people. But let's set up as saying.
It would be better if we had you ramble on for 10 minutes about gibberish, and then we just had a subtitle.
You should take that whiteboard and you should just draw it all out.
A subtitle came up that just said tricky translation. It's gonna be tricky.
No, listen. So let's just say you're running a criminal deck and you're bringing it to a tournament, and this criminal deck is going to be R&D lock. Well, now Laramy Fisk's ability becomes very, very handy, because you can run on the R&D and push cards out of the way that you don't want, dump them into their hand, knowing full well that you're filling their hand with garbage. Therefore, you don't really need to get into it, depending on how aggressively you play.
Really, right? You think that you think you would bring Laramy Fisk, tie him to an R&D lock rather than an HQ lock?
Oh, absolutely, you could.
You're putting cards into their hand, so why wouldn't you want to run the hand?
You could do the other way,
because it says when you make a successful run on a central server, you may force the corp to draw 1 card. So you can make a run on their R&D, and because you get to choose, because it's your turn, you break ties. You can look at the card. If it's not an agenda, then you put it down and force them to draw it. If it is an agenda, then you take it and then you force them to draw the next one.
Moves it
and
out
then
the
you're
way.
actually cycling through the deck.
I don't know if that works though.
That's exactly how it works.
Well, it says you may force the court.
Yeah, it's on a successful run, and because a successful run, you access cards.
Oh, maybe we're not thinking then, because the successful run happens before the access.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever. Tell us in the comments.
We're thinking about
what you think.
it wrong, I think.
I think it's going to be very interesting because I even used to play a style that I only use pretty much sometimes one central or one remote server, you know, and I want to only draw that one card per turn, right? So I'm controlling the pace of the game by when I'm ready, right? Like I have my economy card iced up a little bit, but when I'm ready, I install an agenda over top of that and try and quick advance that one, right?
Yeah.
Now, someone else is controlling my draw rate. That could get a little tricky. That's going to stop people from playing their tempo of a game.
I can tell you right now, that's how I like to play too. I like to play slow and steady with my corp, and I like to draw that one card and kind of just play from there. Yeah, I didn't think about that. That's a good way.
It's on. Before you were pacing your own draw, right?
Yeah.
Now someone else is changing up your game, so you might not see a lot of one remotes anymore. You're gonna have to split that iceberg into two and be ready because you're gonna have more cards.
I don't think you're gonna see many of those tower power decks now anymore. Anyway, with a couple of the cards that are coming out, like Blackmail and Runner Interface, I think is the new criminal card. And I mean, Rooks are out now, so they really don't want people to tower power much anymore. Especially with the new way that everybody runs R&D. Now it's just going to take like your deck having that, you know, bunch of ice, and it's just like, all right, well, I'm going to run at your R&D, and then I'm going to rook you 3 times, and I'm going to run through that repeatedly because you can't stop me. And now you can't score anything because you put all your ice in one server, right? I think we got away from the topic a little bit. But
I don't think this is going to be as powerful as the collective. I would, if I was a corporation and I was going up against a runner, I would fear the collective more than I would fear Laramy Fisk. I believe at this point right now.
Well, we talked about what the collective has, like what kind of rig we think. Like let's kind of throw it like how you think a Laramy Fisk deck would look. So to me, I'm thinking Sneak Door Beta and HQ interfaces. Because the Sneak Door Beta is going to access its ability because it's a run on a central server, and you're going to be able to access a lot of the cards.
And reading that carefully, it's definitely, it's going to have to be an HQ lock because successful run forces it into their hand, then you gotta kind of want to go there.
Yeah.
So that actually makes that significantly worse than what I thought would be, what I thought it would wind up being.
I think another great card to splash in this deck would be Imps, just because then you can start getting rid of the cards. You might not be seeing the cards that you want to see necessarily because they're still going to get that draw and they're still going to be able to. So if they on their turn they draw an agenda, they're still going to be able to put it out. But you're making them draw so many cards, and if with cards like Imp being able to trash the cards right out of their hand, then you're going to keep them really low.
Oh crap!
Especially if you can get rid of their.
What are those seagulls that came out in Creation and Control?
Pacifica or something,
like
yeah.
They trash assets.
Yeah, I mean, but cards like that are giving you extra trash credits, right? Like as you're going through. Like to me, I mean, like this is almost
and Scrubber.
Scrubber does the same.
This is a slow. It's like a drip economy thing. It's like a slow drip mill, you know, like.
Yeah.
Obviously, you're going to have to run a central server to activate it. So
and it's just once a turn.
Yeah. So I mean, they're definitely going to be barricading that.
Well, like you said, he's a man that he wants to control the pace of the game. So he's going to make it speed up. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And we all know that, you know, as a court player, you want to control the game, but as the runner, that's exactly what you want to do. You want to throw off the pace of the game. So even if you just create a deck that just is built to, you know, like even if you don't score many agendas, just making them draw that much extra and just constantly running on their HQ.
It's definitely your pace now.
Yeah. Because now they're going to have to spend a lot of ice on their archives. Assuming I don't see why you wouldn't run Sneak Door Beta in this. It's just like
Yeah, it's in faction, like.
Yeah, but there's not every deck like you run Andy too without Sneak Door Beta, right?
No, it's in there.
Or okay, so I run Andy without Sneak Door Beta because it's, to me, it's not, and Malice also does too. But I think that anything where it focuses on, you kind of want to centralize around the HQ, then.
But it is spreading your ice out a little more over your centrals, right, to stop that.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, I think that's, and then that enhances in faction cards like Femme Fatale and Inside Jobs, because the more they spread out, the better you are. Right.
You want to jump some closing thoughts into your who you're leaning towards right now?
It's yet to be seen. I don't. I'm not particularly fond of either one. I guess I still like Laramy more than I like the Collective, because the Collective is going to pigeonhole you into playing a certain way, and if the Corp is smart, then they'll never let you get where you're trying to go.
You've said before too that you like, that's why you like Andy over Gabe. You like things that are going to always work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I mean, if I was to say that would be the Collective, that's definitely.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
I like more random, really aggressive.
So your pick is the Collective?
No, my pick is still Fisk. I still like Fisk.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry.
No, that's fine. I actually didn't get it. I thought you were saying you could go either way.
Yeah. Well, I could go either way, but I feel that if somebody brought Fisk against me, they'd have a better chance of winning than somebody who brought the Collective against me. So that's how I rationalize it, right?
I think that's a good way to say it too. I'm with Fisk too. I don't know. I don't like 55 5 cards. Maybe I'm just kind of like that chaotic anti deck right now, but I'm just tired of that Shaper deck. Basically, that I think that this deck is just going to, like, they're going to take the deck that exists right now and take out Katie and put in the Collective, and it's just going to be better.
Yeah.
And I mean, that's great. You know what I mean? But I just think that now we're getting into the territory of what Noise Mill used to be. You know what I mean? And I don't like decks like that. Laramy Fisk, I mean, I don't love him. I'm still going to play. I think for abilities, the runner abilities that I like are like very aggressive abilities, and I don't see this as too aggressive.
Yeah.
But
it'd be hard to justify taking Andromeda out to put him in, right? You'd almost.
Yeah, I think it would be very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which kind of sucks, but.
Yeah, and it brings up an interesting point that it is a shame that one of these cards will not be made, because I think they're both very interesting. But if they were both available today to me, I wouldn't switch to either of them.
Yeah, and that's the same. I think we're all on that terms.
Yeah.
I think that was a cool thing that Fantasy Flight did. They took two things that they were kind of on the fence about publishing, and they're like, whatever, let's stir up some controversy. Yeah. I mean, we here at Bad Publicity, we love creating like a little bit of controversy. Like it's fun when people disagree with us. You know what I mean? Because it gives us something it fuels conversation. You know what I mean? So that's why we have the three hosts, because there's somebody you'll agree with and there's somebody you'll disagree with. Probably them.
But yeah, none of these spark me enough to make a change. So you, in conclusion, you were saying
Laramy. That's
still?
what I would go with. Yeah, but I know I'm going to call it right now. I'm voting for Laramy, but I think the Collective will be picked.
More than likely.
I think the Collective is a dominant power, but my style of play and deck building has moved away. I really like to build a lot of decks and work a lot of ideas, and I think I lose that with the Collective. This is going to sound, very strange coming from me, since I am pretty much pro Shaper everything to this point. And I only switched my opinion in the last week, giving it heavy thought coming up to this episode. But I don't I don't see myself being able to create a very fluid deck with the collective. I like to build something. I'll bounce something off these guys. I'm like, hey guys, look at this deck, and they'll be like, oh, that's good, but maybe try this. And I try it out. They're like, oh, then we all come up with something else. I can throw that in it. I can switch cards in and out very easily in my decks.
This is a good point right now to touch on this. Like, we all kind of play. We play the same game, but we all play kind of differently. I am to the point where I love to tell everybody my deck before I go to a tournament. You know what I mean? Because to me, I like to win where everybody knows my tricks. Caleb is kind of like, he doesn't really care. He's like, if you see my deck, you see my deck. He's in the middle. Jamie is the guy, and I think every play group has it. He won't show anybody what he has going into a tournament because he's trying something new, which is phenomenal. Like, it's great because I love playing against his decks, but he's trying something new that he wants to kind of throw you off guard and see, in a tournament, like last tournament you played a Professor deck.
Yeah.
And we even said that Professor probably isn't the most competitive, but still, you were the guy who showed up with, his lockbox and his deck list, which is encoded. You have to piss on it to read it. But he came and he tried, and you tried it. You know what I mean?
Those cards. Scud's a good example if you read the Card Game DB stuff. You got to sometimes think outside the box, or those combinations will never be found.
Oh, shout out to Scud, that new
Wizard?
Your revamp on your Wizard deck.
Yeah.
That's pretty brutal. It's a good deck.
But so I think I lose that fluid card switching, and I'm going to be very pigeonholed if I use the collective. With Laramy Fisk, I feel the options are more there to do something. He's not selling me on Criminal yet. I will try him. I will give some plays with him because we like to, you got to, just to be able to speak to the public. But I think I'm not sold on that power either, but at least the 45-15 is more placed to my creative deck building style right now. So I as a shocker, I'll have to vote Criminal on this.
And I think by the time the whole friggin' it's the
C?
shocker.
Is that the C?
No, it's a shocker.
Or the Criminal? Yeah. Looks like a lower C.
Yeah, sure. Can't not be inappropriate.
He said it.
I think that by the end of the spin cycle, I think that there's going to be too much cool influence, like, just being thrown at you, and you're going to want to do so many things, and then by the time this comes out, you're going to be like, we have 2 cycles out, 2 big boxes, and I can only use 5 influence? Like, I have a hard time fitting 15 influence in, you know what I mean? I don't know.
It's going to be really interesting to see if how much longer we stay with the same factions. Like I said, these cards here, they're going to be special. It's not swaying me to switch. I'm still a shaper.
I think
I kind of fluctuate, but I've been Chaos Theory for a while, and I've been MBN since the day I took the cellophane off the box, right? So
I think it's going to be good because I'm starting to try to flesh out the Criminal deck that I kind of want it to turn, or the Anarch deck that I want to turn into my Kessia program deck. We have our main tournament, which is coming up on October 5th, that I'm going to be coming with my more competitive Andy deck. But right after that, I'm just scrapping that, and I'm going to go to Anarch. So we're officially going to have all 3 suits playing, which I think is really good. And another thing too, we haven't really mentioned, we're going to both the Toronto. Maybe not you.
No, I am.
You're going to both of them?
Yeah.
So we're
banging school.
We're going to be at both the Toronto events for the Plugged In. And
yeah, come say hi.
Yeah, anybody who wants to come say hi, that'd be great. I mean, obviously, we're going to fall short to the Fantasy Flight employees.
Yeah. But you'll still be selling all your Sly Squid merchandise, right?
Yeah, all the T-shirts and
iPhone cases and stuff like that. He's even got his head as little agenda counter tokens, so you can play with them all across the board.
My face on my deck sleeves.
Yep. Guys, let us know what you think below. make sure you give us the thumbs up, even though this probably went on longer than it should. The thumbs are very important in the YouTube world, so just go nuts on that thumb. And
in the comments, vote. We want to know what you guys vote, especially the UK. Anybody outside of America and Canada, like, it sucks that you guys can't play, but, you know, in March or whenever you guys get your tournament, we'll be just as jealous as you. So yeah, tell us what you guys think and
why you think it.
Yeah, and maybe you'll sway our votes in your favor.
Yeah, I mean, there's still a lot of time. I mean,
we full on said that we don't really care.
I went into this thinking that I would be voting collective and giving it the deep thought. It was I'm now sitting on Laramy Fisk, but I can be swayed back if I think of something. Things come to me.
Good phrasing.
Finish that off, yeah.
All right, and we're done.
Hi, I'm Hraklea from Card Games Business Count, and I'm here to talk about the Plugged-In Tour. There will be a series of championships where you play and you're supposed to vote on the collective or Laramy Fisk to be released. And we have this post from Fantasy Flight Games last week talking about the strengths of each one of them. I'm sorry, my pronunciation of the word strength is not really good. Strength. It sucks. And I think that post made it clear obvious and who we should vote. You know, the collective can use professional contact 3 times in a row and we still have 2 clicks, and Laramy Fisk, according to Fantasy Flight, is a combo with Deep Thought. And what crap of combo is that? You know, Deep Thought is one of the worst cards in the game. It will cost influence for Laramy Fisk, and the criminal has the least memory in the game, so it's a terrible way to use it. And the collective seems to have a 70% win rate in Octagon. I'm not sure if that's the pronunciation of that software that you play online, but it seems to have to be there an agreement between high-level players that the collective is way better than Laramy Fisk. And while I don't consider myself a high-level player, I agree with that point. I don't know if I'll be able to vote on it because I'm still waiting for the list of countries and dates where the Chronos Protocol, I think that's the name? Chronos Protocol, I think that's right. I don't know when it will happen, and I don't know the dates, so maybe if it happens in Argentina or Chile, maybe I can go. I don't think it will happen in Brazil, but hopes that last, as they say. So that's it. Good vote for everyone, and please vote on the collective for me.